I think the key question that mid-market CEO is going to ask is, where do I start tomorrow? What do I actually do next? Steve Cairns.
Well, one of the ideas might be to have an AI early adopters group, people from, I would suggest, both the business, maybe tech-savvy individuals within the organization that would like to see change, as well as some of the technology experts in the organization. Start looking to identify processes in the business that are ripe for automation or enhancement. There are things that maybe they're complex, they're repetitive, they're time-consuming or costly, or prone to human error, where maybe AI could play a role in helping to create improvements. And I think you should treat it a bit like any project. You should have a business case on what would the positive outcome be of investing some time and effort in doing something with AI. But I think we've all got so many opportunities. It must be difficult for a business leader to know where to start. And maybe it is tapping into some of the people in the organization who would like to see change, like to see things improved, and coming together and having some plans. What you don't really want is to have people doing it out of view, just playing with ChatGPT, for example, and not sharing what they're doing. So I think an early adopters group, and I've got one with one of my clients where we have a Teams channel and we openly talk about challenges that people are trying to overcome with the use of AI and share their successes, share their challenges, and collaborate on it. And I think that means it's a lot more open within the organization of things that we could then see benefit from. And it's not done under the covers, if you like.
I'm also interested in that early adopters group because it can help shift the culture in the organization, that it can say to everyone, this is a good thing.
Absolutely.
As you said, this isn't something that the kind of techie guys are doing off in a corner. This is something that is engaging with the whole business.
Definitely.
Are there senior people on that group, just out of interest?
Senior-ish, obviously not the board level, but certainly senior departmental leaders, because they're the ones that often see the benefits. If they see automation helping to increase productivity within their teams, then they can take on more business, more work with the same level of team structure and not having to add resources. So they do see the benefits. So those are the ones that generally fly the flag the most.
Other people, the question is, where do I start tomorrow?
So I could add a bit more color to that. I'm actually sitting in one of my clients at the moment, and I'm going straight from this webinar to the kickoff of the what we're calling our Future Leaders program, which is people one down from the exec. Myself and the chief exec will be presenting to them, and they're starting exactly the process that Steve has just described, with the terms of reference and a ethical policy around how we're going to approach it. And this team then will be tasked with looking for opportunities across the organization and then feeding back to me and the chief exec, and for us to support them. So that helps with both the culture, moving the culture on in the organization, and it not being done just by the techies. In fact, there's only one, apart from me, only one technical person in the room. So it's being done by the organization. And the chief exec of another client of mine had said, quite brutally, I think, he said, the only people who will lose their jobs around AI are the ones who are unwilling to work with it, which I thought was quite tough. But the whole point here is, you're quite right, Steve, I think it's not about removing people from work. It's augmenting and doing more with what we've got.
My thought on it is, you start with the human aspect. So the first thing is, the 2 points that Mike and Steve have raised is, you've got to make sure you're communicating with your workforce. Because unless you're communicating with your workforce, they're going to sit there thinking, well, what's the real agenda? So involving the workforce and that communication around the fact that this is to augment, not to replace, is absolutely the starting point. After that, I would start to ask, what are all the things that we've put off and avoided because we never really had a way of doing it? Don't look for the low-hanging fruit. Look for the stuff that's been around for years that's always been a thorny issue, and start working with those ones. Because then you'll see real deliverable value early.
All of these examples so far, interestingly, have been about engagement, haven't they? Maybe that's the point here. This is a change curve. Ken, what were you going to say?
I was going to circle back to what I said earlier, is that I think the first step is to really do an objective assessment of where you are and how AI is going to benefit your organization. And I don't mean that just from a technology stack standpoint. I mean from a cultural shift, from a business perspective. If you're a private equity firm or a hedge fund, and you have portfolio companies, you're going to look at AI for economies of scale, or looking at how that data is going against the other markets. And I think, again, here's the shameless Freeman Clark plug, is that you're not in it alone. Freeman Clark is specializing in this. We've developed some AI workshops to actually help our clients understand and achieve these objectives and define them. So, I do think that that's the first step, is to really understand, what are you asking it to do? Like, it's not a problem in search of a solution, and it's not a solution in search of a problem. You need to really take the time to really understand how it will specifically affect your business. And that's where we can help, is understanding that and understanding the nuances. We have case studies and examples of industries across a multitude of industries of where AI can plug in. The question is, does it make sense for your business?